Hi, I'm Mitchell Robinson, a political speech expert from the University of Ottawa, here today with the first edition of Political Speech Weekly. Today, we will be analyzing the political speeches of Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, and President Donald Trump. More specifically, I will be looking at Aristotle's three methods of persuasion that he describes in his book, Rhetoric. Those three methods are ethos, pathos, and logos, and all must be used to convince and persuade one's audience. The first tool used to persuade an audience is ethos. Ethos is an appeal to one's ethics and involves convincing the audience of one's character or credibility. Ethos can be developed by invoking shared values and choosing language that is appropriate for one's audience. Let's first look at Donald Trump. As discussed by Sophie Laughing, President Trump often anchors his speeches around values that have been ingrained in the US populace. In his speeches, President Donald Trump often invokes American values like freedom, liberty, and uses patriotic terms such as serve, protect, and defend in order to appeal to the ethical code that is believed to be held by the majority of American citizens. President Trump's invocation of shared ethics and American values assist in making him seem like an ethical or credible individual when he so often demonstrates the opposite. Now let's look at Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and the way that he uses ethos. As highlighted by Alex Marland, an associate professor at Memorial University, in his 2013 article, What is a Political Brand?, much of Justin Trudeau's credibility, his ethos, comes from the fact that he is the son of former Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau. The fact that his father was also a politician, and a relatively liked one at that, allows Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to benefit from the positive reputation afforded to his father. However, as highlighted in Chris Rojek's 2001 book titled Celebrity, Justin Trudeau's celebrity is one that has been ascribed to him. Ascribed celebrity entails a heightened public status and media fascination that is predetermined by one's bloodline, much like the descendants of royalty. Rojek further highlights how this ascribed celebrity could hurt Prime Minister Trudeau's ethos as it opens him up to be criticized as a member of the elite. Moreover, his association with his father could actually harm Justin Trudeau's ethos, as people who disliked his father will transfer that dislike onto Justin himself. On the opposite hand, Donald Trump has a celebrity that he has achieved through his work as a real estate mogul and a businessman. This achieved celebrity gives him credibility as someone who can make deals and negotiate in a way that will benefit the American people. Next, let's look at pathos. Pathos is a tool of persuasion that involves appealing to the emotions of an audience. Common uses of pathos include drawing pity from an audience and inspiring anger from an audience. For example, Trump often uses pathos to inspire fear in his audience. This is especially true when it comes to things like immigration. His divisive tone and strong language create a sense of fear of the other, and people are thereby emotionally motivated to support his anti-immigration and protectionist policies. On the other hand, Prime Minister uses emotional appeal much differently than Donald Trump does. As highlighted in Alex Marland's 2017 book, Permanent Campaigning in Canada, the second most talked about issue by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is cultural pluralism and immigration. Therefore, since cultural pluralism and compassionate immigration policies are at the heart of Trudeau and the Liberal Party's agenda, Trudeau uses pathos to evoke a sense of empathy amongst the Canadian populace. Trudeau utilizes an emotional tone, emotion-evoking examples, and stories of emotional events in order to make people feel empathetic for the struggle of others and therefore support his government's compassionate immigration policies. The final method of persuasion discussed by Aristotle is logos. Logos involves convincing an audience by using logic or reason and can be developed by using advanced or theoretical language and citing facts. Looking at Donald Trump and his use of logos is a particularly interesting case. Prominent political fact-checking website PolitiFact found that an astonishing 33% of the statements made by Donald Trump are just blatantly false. Despite his penchant for spewing alternative facts, President Trump managed to seem competent and logical enough to the 46.4% of Americans who voted him into office last fall. Trump's ability to seem logical and competent, despite his use of non-advanced and often crude language, coupled with his failure to cite facts, is a case that is truly perplexing, and one that will be studied by political scientists for years to come. So, as we have seen in this brief talk, President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau vary in the way that they use ethos, pathos, and logos in order to appeal to their audiences. However, the message from Aristotle's treatise on rhetoric remains true today. that one must appeal to ethics, emotions, and logic in order to effectively persuade audiences. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Political Speech Weekly. I'm Mitchell Robinson, and we'll see you next week.